My name is Catherine Hale, and for most of my life, I believed my family was ordinary. My parents were quiet people who avoided neighbors, cameras, and questions. They kept their world small, their smiles polite, and their secrets buried under layers of silence. But the truth is, silence can only hide the screams for so long. I used to think I was the one who didn't fit in, but now I know they were hiding me from something, or perhaps someone, from the truth that refused to stay buried. Tea began one cold autumn morning, the kind of morning when fog swallows the town and even the sun hesitates to rise. My mother had been gone for 3 days. Dad said she had gone to visit her sister, but Aunt Martha had called the night before, her voice trembling, saying she hadn't heard from my mother in years. That was when I knew something was terribly wrong. My father avoided my eyes whenever I asked questions. He sat at the kitchen table, his fingers trembling as he stirred his coffee that had already gone cold. The house had always been silent, but that morning it was unbearably so. Every creak of the floorboard echoed like a heartbeat in the walls. That was when I found the letter, an old, yellowed envelope tucked behind the loose brick in the fireplace. My name was written on it in my mother's delicate handwriting. My heart thudded painfully as I unfolded the brittle paper. Catherine, it read. If you are reading this, then something has gone wrong. You deserve to know the truth, no matter how much it hurts. Your father and I never wanted this life for you. What we did to protect you. Never go to the attic. And if anyone asks about the lake, you must never speak of it. I froze, my breath caught between disbelief and dread. The attic. The lake. Two places that had always been forbidden, sealed with the weight of unspoken fear. My father had once told me the attic was filled with black mold and collapsing beams. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. But now, as the wind howled outside and the walls of the house seemed to lean in closer, curiosity coiled inside me like a serpent waiting to strike. That night, I waited until my father had fallen asleep in his armchair. His breathing was heavy, uneven, like the growl of a storm. I climbed the narrow staircase to the attic, every step creaking beneath my weight. The air grew colder with each step, and the scent of dust and old wood filled my lungs. The door was locked, but the key, small, rusted, and strange, hung around my mother's portrait in the hallway. I had always thought it was decorative. Now I knew better. When I turned the key, a gust of cold air rushed out, as though the attic itself had been holding its breath. The moonlight slipped through the cracks in the roof, falling on old trunks, broken furniture, and cobwebs that glittered like glass. But then I saw it, a small chest in the corner, covered with a dark cloth. My hands shook as I lifted it, revealing a wooden box with my initials carved into the lid. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. Some were old and faded, others recent. But what made my blood run cold was that in every photograph, there was me, or someone who looked exactly like me. Different ages, different clothes, different years, but the same face. Same scar above the eyebrow. Same eyes. I stared at the dates written on the back of each photo. 1983, 1997. 2008. I wasn't even born in 1983. I barely noticed the sound behind me until it was too late. The floorboards creaked, and my father's voice, rough and low, came from the shadows. You weren't supposed to find that, he said. His face was pale, his eyes sunken with exhaustion or guilt. He stepped closer, and I could see tears trembling in his eyes. She promised me you'd never know. What is this? I demanded, holding up one of the photographs. Who are these people? Why do they look like me? He didn't answer at first. He just sank to his knees, clutching his head like a man crushed under a weight too heavy to bear. You shouldn't have opened the box, Catherine, he whispered. You've woken it again. What do you mean? I asked, my voice shaking. He looked up at me then, and for the first time, I didn't see my father, I saw a stranger. You died, he said softly. Many times. The words tore through me. What are you talking about? He stood, moving to the window, staring out into the blackness beyond the trees. Your mother and I made a choice before you were born. A terrible one. There was something about you, something that drew attention. You were born during the storm, the same night the lake froze solid for the first time in 100 years. We didn't understand what it meant then. But every time we lost you, the lake changed. Every time the ice cracked, you came back. My heart was pounding so violently I thought it might burst. Lost me? He nodded. You drowned, Catherine. When you were 5. And then again when you were 8. The doctors said it was impossible, but you always came back, the same as before. No scars. No memories. Just you, alive again. Your mother and I couldn't bear to lose you, so we did everything to keep you safe. We left our home. Changed our names. Hid the truth. But it's not something you can hide forever. I stumbled backward, shaking my head. That's not true. It can't be. But deep down, I knew something inside me had always been different. I never got sick. I never aged the same way my classmates did. And sometimes, I'd dream of drowning, cold water filling my lungs, darkness closing in, then waking up gasping for air. Before I could speak, my father turned toward me, his voice breaking. Your mother went to the lake 3 days ago. She thought if she gave it back what it wanted, you'd be free. What it wanted? I whispered. He hesitated, then said, you. The floor groaned beneath us. A low rumble echoed through the house, like thunder trapped under the ground. My father's eyes went wide. It knows you've remembered. I ran down the stairs, heart racing, the photograph still clutched in my hand. The house trembled as though something immense was moving beneath it. I burst out the front door into the night. The fog was thick, the air heavy and damp. In the distance, I could see the lake, a black mirror glistening beneath the moonlight. I don't know what pulled me toward it. Maybe it was the sound, a faint whisper, like my name being carried on the wind. Or maybe it was the feeling, the strange pull in my chest that felt like something calling me home. I ran, the cold air slicing through me. The trees leaned like silent watchers, and the world seemed to narrow until all I could see was that dark, endless water. When I reached the edge, I saw her. My mother, standing on the frozen surface, her dress soaked, her eyes hollow. She looked at me with both love and terror. It won't let you go, she whispered. I tried to save you, but it wants what it created. The ice beneath her feet cracked, spreading in jagged lines. My father's voice shouted behind me, begging me to stop, but it was too late. I stepped forward, feeling the chill crawl up my legs. The whisper grew louder, clearer. Come home, Catherine. The reflection in the ice shifted. It wasn't me. It was another girl, my face, but older, colder, eyes glowing faintly like the moon. She smiled, and the surface broke, cold water swallowed me. The world vanished. For a moment, there was only silence and darkness. Then I saw them, all the other versions of me, faces drifting in the black water, eyes wide open, waiting. One reached for me and whispered, "You were never supposed to leave." When I woke, I was lying on the shore, the sun barely rising over the horizon. My father was gone. The house was gone. Only the lake remained, still and silent as glass. I stood, feeling the weight of the photograph still in my pocket. My reflection on the surface smiled back, but it wasn't smiling the same way I was. Now I live miles away, in a small apartment where no one knows my name. But sometimes, at night, when the wind howls like it did that morning, I hear it again, the whisper calling from far away. And when I look in the mirror, I swear I see water behind my eyes. I used to think the lake was cursed. Now I think I am, because no matter how far I run, I know one day, I'll go back. And when I do, I don't think I'll come out again, the secret my parents tried to take to the grave. But the grave was never deep enough to hold it.